Ash, welcome. I know you're a big fan of A's Cast Live and A's Cast. This is your debut. You watch and listen to this all the time.
I do, mate, every day. Like, I listen to you guys on iHeartRadio, catch up with your podcasts, watch you on YouTube. It's just fantastic. It's given me access to the A's that I could only ever dream of having. It's fantastic.
Well, I got to say, it's an honor to have you here. You embody everything that A's Fantasy Camp is all about, what it took you just to get here to Mesa, Arizona. Tell the fans your travel schedule, what you had to do to get here from down under.
Okay, so I live in a town called Dubbo, which is about 6 hours west of Sydney. So essentially, to get to Sydney Airport, I had to drive 5 hours, caught a train for 2 hours. Then I flew from Sydney to LAX, and then from there flew from LAX to Phoenix. So trains, planes, and automobiles, Chris. But this has been like just the most amazing experience. So I turn up first day. I'm sitting there at the bar, as you do on these camps, and I've got Bobby Crosby next to me on this side. I've got Dallas Braden here, and we're just sitting there chatting like we're buds, and we're just learning about the game, and just listening to Dallas talk about how he would set up hitters when he'd pick them off, and as a student of the game, just the access you get is just incredible, and everyone's so nice, and it's just the one in a lifetime experience, which I reckon I'll make two of a lifetime experience, because I'm coming back. This is really great.
Well, you said last night to me, you said this is the greatest day of my life. And yesterday you were out on the mound, you're struggling a little bit, and the great Dave Stewart, one of the, I mean, we all know, I mean, you talk about guys that, we talk about players that are not in the Hall of Fame. I mean, guy won 20 games, 4 straight years. That'll never be done again. He's a World Series MVP. He's in the Oakland A's Hall of Fame. His win total would have been far greater, except for the early part of his career where he eventually figured stuff out. But Dave Stewart is truly one of the greatest big game pitchers, a 3-time World Series champion. Just what was it like? You're out there on the mound, and a guy that you absolutely love, Dave Stewart, is coming out to talk to you.
Man, Dave, he's come out, gives me the stare and says, just go play catch. Because I couldn't hit the side of a bus. I was just struggling. I haven't thrown off a mound for 25 years. But just to have him come up and, I'm getting visited by Dave Stewart. Like,
yeah.
Where does that happen? Like, that just doesn't happen. And also I'm in the box hitting, and I've got Ernie Young, giving you advice on, how to get out in the head of how to get out and hit. And actually, I had a better day at the bat. I went 3 for 3. So, yeah, it was good.
He's swinging it. Ash is definitely swinging it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you just mentioned the names, like you're at the bar with Bobby Crosby and Dallas Braden, your manager and the guy coming out and dealing with you is Dave Stewart.
Played golf with Shooty Babbitt. Like, man, it's like an A's fans. It's a fantasy. Like, it doesn't happen. It's just unbelievable.
No doubt. Talk about we on Friday night, you came up and we were talking, and just how you became an A's fan.
Yeah. So, you turn up here and they go, you're from Australia. Why the A's? Why are you doing that? And, so in Australia at the time in the 80s, baseball was only ever on TV for the World Series. It would come on at 1 o'clock in the morning, which wasn't even the real time. It was like recorded. And you'd have to record it on your Betamax or your VHS and watch it the next day. But in 88, they decided to show the World Series. And they showed it in a show called Wide World of Sports. So, which is pretty cool. So we get the first 3 innings of the game. And I decided at that point I was following the green and gold. They cut it off and they go to, I think, Nordic ski jumping. Then they went to British darts, and I think they went to ice skating. And then it comes back on in the last innings. And Kirk Gibson's at bat, hits a home run. And I decided at that point that I was just following the A's from there on in. And then 12 months later, Stu was in Australia. And I was a little kid. Well, 16-year-old, not a little kid. And he did a camp, and all I knew of Stu was this guy that had a hat, look over like this, and he'd look at you and go, you'd be scared of him. And he was just the nicest guy you could ever meet. And I got to ask him a question. I asked him what made Dennis Eckersley so good. And he said because he could hit the bees on the side of from here to there. And I decided at that time just how nice he was and how good he was that this was the team. And from there, I've just followed you. And in the old days, you'd have to look up the score in the paper or get the standings. We used to get that in Australia, or buy Baseball America that was like 3 or 4 months old or whatever out of the news agency. But now, I'm like a regular fan. I listen to 162 games a year. I watch it. I listen to your spring training stuff. I listen to the A's cast. And it's just fantastic.
God bless you.
Yeah.
You're exactly what we need.
Yeah. And you reach to Australia. Like I hear people from Australia calling to you all the time and that sort of stuff. And I was talking to Cody last night.
Yeah, Lucas is one of our great callers down under. He's fat. He's come to see us, and of course, we've had a pipeline of Australian players, but we do have listeners down there, and it's always you guys are a day ahead. So I always joke that whenever an Australian calls into the postgame show, I said we're going into the future. They are in the future. But yeah, it's like when our games are being played, it's like midday in Australia the next day.
It's midday, and I'm listening to it on the radio at work. Sorry, I hope no one from work's watching. That's what I do, and it's good.
So, just what was it like being an A's fan growing up? Like you said, tough to get like scores, tough to know what was going on.
Yeah,
we didn't have you and I are old enough. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have, we didn't have it. For God's sakes, you brought up Betamax. You know how many people watching this have no idea the difference between VHS and there was a fight between Beta and VHS back in the day. And kids, look it up on Google, and VHS won.
And I reckon Beta was better. I reckon Betamax was better.
But VHS in the end was cheaper, and it won out.
It won out, I know.
And we sound like two old men, and no one has any idea what the hell we're talking about.
Sorry about that.
VHS tapes? Yes, I still have bags of VHS tapes of my high school games back when. Yeah, that's a long time ago. But yeah, you it had to be hard because put it this way. Back in the day, if you were an A's fan or a fan of any team in the West Coast and you lived on the East Coast, you didn't get the next day. You had to wait the papers the day. It took you 2 days to get.
So the standings used to come in like probably once a fortnight. They'd put them in the back columns of the sports page, and it'd have where the team was following and some of the scores through the week. But like I said, I would buy we'd get a range of American magazines coming through at my local newsagent, and there would be some baseball magazines, those kind of things, and that's who's the best player, the best teams, what the ratings were, those kind of things. And that's kind of how we had to do it.
All right, I know you got to get going here and you got to play, but just tell everybody, if somebody is out there and they're wondering, man, that looks cool. Look at the Kelly Green uni, look at the hat. I'm a huge baseball fan. I played baseball in high school. I've always wanted to, or one thing that I've always said, it makes a great gift. If you've always wondering what a great Christmas, birthday gift to give somebody. But if I was to say, talk to the person out there who's always said they want to come to fantasy camp, tell them what the experience as someone who's come all the way from Australia, what the experience is like.
So the experience is just so authentic. It's so real. You get to meet these fantastic players. I'm going to meet Rolly Fingers, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
It's that. And it's just a wonderful experience. The people here are just fantastic. You go into that training rooms, you get the access to all the trainers, you get access to all the club's facilities out there, the hitting cages, everything. It's all rolled out here. And honestly, this is an awesome experience. So if you ever get an opportunity, get it. This was my 50th birthday present, by the way. So that's how that happened.
Happy 50th birthday.
So that's how that happened. And it's a really good experience. So I encourage you, if you get a chance, do it. You won't regret it.
And you just got to come from wherever you're watching. He had to do trains and airplanes. Well, everybody's probably going to have to do an airplane. But what you had to do to get here, what would you say the time was from door to door?
So from door to door, I reckon I was about 26 hours.
26 hours. For you, I guarantee it's going to be about an hour and 10, hour 20 minutes.
But worth every minute of it.
Well, congratulations. Happy birthday. Congratulations. I know this is a big moment for you.
Yeah.
You said Friday was the biggest day of your life. Then you said last night, and you were talking to Cody last night, so I don't know how you got that was the biggest day of your life. I love that. But today today may be the greatest day of your life.
Yeah. If I can get a couple of hits in the next game, I think it'll.
Now,
top
are
it off.
you are can we put you in the plus or minus of being able to pitch today?
Look,
You're in the red.
I think I'm in the red because I haven't pitched a lot, and my training regime was literally throwing balls into a cricket net by myself. So I'm a bit stiff today, but we'll see.
All right, let's get some hits today.
Yeah, I've got to try and do that.
Hey, thanks for coming on. We truly appreciate it. You're what Ace Fantasy Camp is all about.
Thanks, Chris. Lovely. Thanks for having me.